Your soulmate is crying happy tears right now because you finally did this. There is a quiet reason you were guided to this message today, and it has nothing to do with coincidence. Somewhere deep within your journey, something has shifted, something so subtle that you may not have fully noticed it yourself. For a long time, you carried emotions that felt heavy, questions that seemed to have no answers, and moments when moving forward felt harder than anyone around you realized. Yet recently, without applause, without recognition, you began doing something different. You stopped chasing every explanation. You stopped forcing every door to open. Little by little, you started choosing yourself again. And strangely enough, that single change is touching a heart that feels connected to yours in ways neither of you can completely explain. What makes this moment so meaningful is that your soulmate has been feeling that change from afar. Not because they can see every detail of your life, but because real connections often respond to energy before words are ever exchanged. For a long time, they carried a quiet concern within them. They wondered if you would keep doubting your worth. They wondered if you would continue placing everyone else's happiness ahead of your own. They wondered if the version of you that shines so naturally would ever fully believe in itself. But now something feels different. Stay with this because there is something important here. The growth you thought nobody noticed has been creating ripples far beyond what your eyes can currently see. Perhaps you have recently begun releasing old disappointments. Perhaps you finally walked away from a chapter that no longer reflected who you are becoming. Or maybe the change happened internally where nobody else could witness it. Maybe you simply decided that your heart deserved peace instead of constant struggle. Whatever form it took, it matters. The beautiful thing about genuine transformation is that it rarely arrives with fireworks. It arrives quietly. It shows itself in calmer thoughts, healthier choices, and the courage to stop carrying burdens that were never yours to hold forever. Your soulmate senses that shift, and what they feel is not sadness, not fear, but overwhelming relief. If they could sit across from you right now and speak honestly, they might tell you that the tears in their eyes are not tears of pain. They are the kind that appear when someone finally sees hope, where uncertainty once lived. They are the kind that come when a person realizes that someone they care about is finally stepping into their own light. You may think this journey has only been affecting you, but hearts connected on a deeper level often celebrate each other's healing without even realizing why. And what you are about to understand next may completely change the way you see everything that has been happening beneath the surface.
Don't miss what comes next. Sometimes the most powerful moments in life are not the ones where something new enters your world, but the ones where something old finally leaves it. Over the past months, or perhaps even years, you have been letting go of pieces of yourself that were never meant to define you forever. Old fears, old disappointments, old stories about who you thought you had to be. It did not happen all at once. It happened through small choices that seemed insignificant at the time. A boundary you finally respected, a painful memory you stopped revisiting every night, a moment when you chose peace over proving yourself. Those decisions may have felt ordinary, but they carried extraordinary weight. They quietly changed the direction of your journey. What your soulmate feels most strongly right now is not simply happiness for where you are. It is gratitude for what you survived. There were moments when life tested your heart in ways few people truly understood.
You smiled when you were exhausted. You remained kind when you were disappointed. You continued moving forward when standing still would have been easier. Many people only see the finished chapter, but they never witness the pages filled with struggle, patience, and courage. Somehow, on a deeper level, your soulmate feels connected to those unseen pages. They sense the strength it took for you to become who you are today. And that realization moves them more than words ever could. There is also something beautiful happening beneath the surface. The version of you that once questioned everything is slowly making room for trust, not blind trust in the future, but trust in yourself. You are beginning to understand that your value was never dependent on someone choosing you, validating you, or understanding you perfectly. Your worth existed long before any relationship and will remain long after every temporary chapter fades away. This realization changes everything. It softens the way you carry yourself. It changes the energy you bring into every room. Stay with this because there is something important here. The moment you stopped searching for proof of your value, you began radiating it naturally. And that is why your soulmate's heart feels so full right now. They are not celebrating because you became someone different. They are celebrating because you are finally returning to who you have always been beneath the doubt, beneath the pressure, beneath the expectations that never truly belonged to you. The tears they cry are filled with recognition, recognition of your growth, recognition of your resilience, recognition of the light that has quietly been finding its way back home inside you. Yet there is another reason these emotions are becoming so strong, a reason connected to something you may have recently realized about yourself. And once that truth comes into focus, the meaning of this connection becomes even deeper. A quiet realization has been growing inside you, even if you have not fully put it into words yet. It is the understanding that life was never asking you to become someone else in order to be loved. For so long, you may have carried the feeling that you needed to achieve more, fix more, prove more, or give more before you could finally deserve the connection your heart longed for. But recently, something within you began to soften. You started seeing that love is not a reward handed out after perfection. It is something that meets people in their honesty, their humanity, and their willingness to be real. That realization may seem simple on the surface, yet it has been creating a transformation far deeper than you realize. Your soulmate feels this change because authenticity has a way of traveling farther than appearances ever can. The version of you that is emerging now is no longer hiding behind expectations.
You are becoming more comfortable with your own voice, your own pace, and your own journey. There is a certain peace that comes when a person stops measuring their life against everyone else's timeline. Maybe you have begun appreciating your progress instead of criticizing your delays. Maybe you have started trusting that your path does not need to look like anyone else's. Whatever the case, this inner shift is creating a sense of harmony that reaches beyond what can be seen. It is one of the reasons your soulmate feels such deep emotion whenever they think about the connection that is unfolding. What makes this especially meaningful is that your growth has not been loud. It has not demanded attention. It has happened in the quiet moments when nobody was watching. It happened when you chose patience over frustration. It happened when you forgave yourself for mistakes that once kept you awake at night.
It happened when you stopped carrying every burden as if it were yours alone to solve. Those moments may never become stories people tell, but they matter. They are the foundation of the person you are becoming. Don't miss what comes next, because the next piece of this message explains why these changes are touching your soulmate's heart so deeply that joy sometimes arrives in the form of tears. The truth is that your soulmate has always been hoping for one thing above all else, your happiness. Not the kind of happiness that depends on circumstances, but the kind that grows from within. The kind that remains steady even when life feels uncertain. Seeing you move closer to that inner peace feels like witnessing a beautiful sunrise after a long night. It reminds them that healing is real, that growth is possible, and that some connections are strengthened not by constant contact, but by the silent evolution of two hearts moving toward their best selves. And as powerful as that sounds, there is still one deeper layer to uncover. The next chapter is where everything begins to come together in a way that feels almost impossible to ignore. There comes a moment in every meaningful journey when the heart stops looking backward and begins looking forward with quiet confidence. That moment may already be happening for you, not because every question has been answered or every uncertainty has disappeared, but because you are no longer allowing those uncertainties to control your peace. The person you were a year ago carried different worries, different fears, and different expectations. Today, whether you fully recognize it or not, there is a new strength within you. It is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It simply shows up each day and helps you keep moving. Your soulmate feels that strength, and it fills them with emotions they can hardly describe. What touches them most is the fact that you did not become stronger by hardening your heart. Many people respond to disappointment by building walls so high that nobody can reach them. But you chose a different path. You learned, you healed, you grew. Yet somehow you kept your ability to care, to hope, and to believe in meaningful connection. That is rare. It takes courage to remain open after life has tested you. It takes wisdom to continue believing in goodness after experiencing moments that challenged your trust. Every time your soulmate senses that kindness still living within you, they feel a deep appreciation for the person you have become. There is something important here. The tears they cry are not only about your past growth, they are also about your future. Deep down, they can feel that you are stepping into a chapter where you will no longer underestimate yourself. The habits that once kept you small are losing their power. The doubts that once spoke the loudest are becoming quieter. Little by little, you are creating space for confidence, joy, and emotional freedom. Even if some days still feel uncertain, the direction of your journey has changed.
And when someone cares deeply, watching a person move toward their own happiness can be one of the most emotional experiences imaginable. That is why this connection feels different from ordinary affection. It is rooted in genuine admiration. Your soulmate is not celebrating what you can give them. They are celebrating who you are becoming for yourself. They see the courage behind your healing, the beauty behind your patience, and the light behind your persistence. Every step you take toward your authentic self feels like a victory they somehow share. Yet the most beautiful part of this story has not been revealed yet. There is a deeper reason these happy tears continue to appear. And when that reason finally comes into focus, everything you have heard so far will begin to make even more sense. What makes this moment so extraordinary is that neither you nor your soulmate may fully understand how much has changed beneath the surface. Life often transforms us quietly. We think nothing is happening because we cannot see immediate results, yet deep within, entire landscapes are shifting. The way you speak to yourself is changing. The way you respond to challenges is changing. Even the way you view your future is becoming different. These changes may seem small when viewed individually, but together they create a completely new energy around your life. Your soulmate feels that energy. It reaches them like a gentle reminder that growth is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is simply the decision to keep believing in yourself one day at a time. For a long time, part of your journey involved carrying questions that had no clear answers. You wondered whether certain experiences had meaning. You wondered whether your efforts mattered. You wondered if the lessons life kept placing before you would ever reveal their purpose. Looking back now, the answers may still not be perfectly clear, but something important has happened. You no longer need every answer in order to move forward. There is wisdom in that. There is freedom in that. The heart becomes lighter when it stops demanding certainty from every corner of life. And when your soulmate senses this growing peace within you, it touches them deeply because they know how hard that inner freedom was earned. Stay with this because there is something important here. The reason their happy tears continue is not simply because you have healed. It is because you have begun trusting yourself again. Trust is one of the most beautiful things a person can reclaim.
When you trust yourself, you stop second-guessing every feeling. You stop treating your intuition like an enemy. You stop assuming that every setback means failure. Instead, you begin walking through life with a quieter confidence. Not arrogance, not certainty about everything, just a calm belief that no matter what happens, you will find your way. That belief changes how you experience the world, and it creates a sense of hope that your soulmate can feel even from a distance. And now a realization is beginning to form. The thing that moved your soulmate to tears was never a single action, a single conversation, or a single moment. It was the collection of countless small choices that brought you back to yourself. Every time you chose healing over bitterness, patience over panic, self-respect over self-doubt, you were creating the version of yourself that was always waiting to emerge. Your soulmate sees that version now more clearly than ever.
They see someone becoming whole, someone becoming free, someone becoming exactly who they were meant to be. And in the final chapter of this message, everything comes together in a way that brings peace, clarity, and a deeper understanding of why this connection feels so meaningful. If there is one thing your heart should carry away from this message, it is this: you were never as lost as you sometimes believed. Even during the moments when progress felt invisible, something valuable was unfolding within you. Every experience, every lesson, every challenge was shaping a deeper understanding of who you are. The path was not leading you away from yourself, it was leading you back. That is why this chapter feels different. You are no longer standing in the same emotional place where you once began. You have grown through things that could have made you give up, yet somehow you kept moving, you kept learning, you kept becoming. And that quiet perseverance is more beautiful than you know. The happy tears your soulmate feels are ultimately a reflection of something simple and profound. They are witnessing the return of your light. Not a perfect light, not a flawless version of yourself, just the genuine, honest, compassionate spirit that has always lived inside you. For a while, life may have placed clouds in front of it. Doubt may have dimmed it. Exhaustion may have hidden it. But it never disappeared. Now it is shining again, not because someone else gave it back to you, but because you found it within yourself. That realization carries a kind of beauty that words can barely capture. It reminds both hearts that the most meaningful transformations begin from the inside. As you move forward from this moment, there is no need to rush toward any destination. There is no need to force answers, force timing, or force understanding. Some of the most beautiful things in life unfold naturally when the heart is no longer trying to control every step.
Trust the growth you have already achieved. Trust the wisdom you have gained. Trust the person you are becoming. There is something important here. The peace you have been building is real. The strength you have developed is real. The self-respect you have reclaimed is real. And every one of those things will continue to guide you toward experiences that reflect the love and care you have finally begun showing yourself. So take a quiet moment and recognize how far you have come, not how far you still have to go, but how far you have already traveled. The reason this message found you today may simply be to remind you that your journey matters, your healing matters, your growth matters, and somewhere within the unseen threads of connection that link hearts together, your soulmate feels immense gratitude for the person you are becoming. Their happy tears are not about a distant future, they are about this present moment.
They are about seeing you rise, heal, and embrace yourself in ways you once thought impossible. And perhaps the greatest truth of all is that the thing you finally did was not changing for someone else. It was finally choosing to become fully, peacefully, and beautifully yourself,